Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about the film Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And this is continuing my series of reviews where every Friday the 13th I review a Friday the 13th movie. It's been a while since I've done one of these because it's been a while since we've had a Friday the 13th. They don't happen that often. The last one was July 13th, 2012, and this is the closest one since then. Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, starts off with Jason being dead for several years, even though it's only been 2 years, but time in these films doesn't make a lot of sense. The character of Tommy Jarvis, who has aged quite a bit, so maybe, I don't know what year these films actually take place in. I feel like this is actually 1995 at this point, if you did it really chronologically, because how do you go from Corey Feldman, who looks like he's like 10 or 11, to like this guy who looks like he's 25? I don't understand that, but whatever. It's Friday the 13th, you shouldn't be thinking about those type of things. The character of Tommy Jarvis wants to go to Jason's grave and dig him up and kill him more, I guess, even though before we had learned that he was cremated, but I guess the guy was lying, or the studio executives were like, whoa, hold on. Nobody liked that New Beginning crap. He goes with his friend, digs up Jason at night, because what better time to dig somebody up, then decides to put this metal thing in him, but of course it's a lightning storm and lightning hits this metal thing and Jason suddenly comes back to life, and because they have the hockey mask with them, which is also a little weird, Tommy Jarvis's friend gets killed, and one of my favorite kills of the movie where he just like pushes his arm through this guy's chest and is lots of gore. Jason comes back and starts attacking Camp Crystal Lake, or it's not called Crystal Lake anymore. They've changed the name to Forest Green because of all the murders Jason has done there. And Tommy is trying to stop Jason. He tells the sheriff, and the sheriff doesn't believe him and locks him up, thinking he's a wacko, and even thinks that Tommy is doing these murders that Jason is, while, of course, the newly named Forest Hills camp, it has a bunch of kids in it, and they're trying to stop Jason before he murders everyone like he always does. This sequel is looked at more favorably because of its sense of humor. And a lot of horror movie franchises have thought of doing kind of more of a comedic sequel because it gets a little ridiculous when you get into Part 6. It gets a little stupid, especially since this is Jason Lives and the way he comes back. They're having a little more fun with it. There's more fourth wall breaking. There's more humor in it. When they're making the Jaws films, I believe Jaws 3, they were considering calling it Jaws 3 People Zero and making it kind of like a piranha type of send-up, but they decided not to do that. But Friday the 13th had already done the Halloween idea of Halloween Part 3 with their Friday the 13th Part 5, New Beginning, where they try to restart the franchise and do something different. But much like the Halloween films, like Halloween 4 is Michael Myers again, this is Jason again. But I think what makes this film a lot better than Halloween 4, which is like not a good movie, it's just kind of like an ordinary slasher film, it just happens to star Michael Myers, what makes this film a lot more fun is the humor in it. It's kind of like a precursor to kind of a meta horror movie, like a Piranha 3D. Some people say Scream, but I don't think it's that much of a precursor to Scream. The first sequence is really funny, and how they bring back Jason, and how like he's trying to light Jason on fire, and then it suddenly rains out of nowhere. Kind of ridiculous send-ups, things keep happening, but I feel like as the film goes on, it loses its sense of humor. It gets a lot less funny. And if it had kept up that kind of humor throughout the whole film, it could have been a lot more fun. But it kind of like falls into the trap that Halloween 4 falls into, where it's just like, oh, it's another Friday the 13th movie. It starts off as something special, but it kind of loses it. Even the kills, which at the beginning of the film start off being pretty cool, like between like where he stabs 2 people at once, where he just rips his arm through somebody, where he rips somebody's arm off. They're pretty cool kills, and they keep this film kind of fun and fresh and entertaining. But the problem is it kind of loses its steam as it goes on. It's not keeping up with the humor of it. It's not keeping up with the fun. It's a good concept, and this is probably one of my favorite Friday the 13th sequels. It actually got better reviews at the time. I think because it didn't take itself so seriously, and because there's a lot of humor. You know, it's campy 80s humor, and not particularly great campy 80s humor. The shot right after where they have Jason kind of doing the James Bond opening, where, you know, how James Bond like points the gun at the camera and then shoots it and there's blood, and they do the same thing but with Jason and a machete. That's very funny. And I think there's a lot of good humor and a good sense of humor and a good tone to a lot of this. If that had kept up through the entire movie. It's just like, particularly the third act, none of the kills are very inspired. It's kind of tense, but it's kind of stupid. I still don't understand what their deal is with Tommy Jarvis. Why keep this character going and have him be nothing like the original Tommy Jarvis from Friday the 13th, the final chapter? He's just absolutely nothing like him whatsoever. He's not into horror makeup. He's not into horror movies at all. Like, that was the cool thing about him. And it would have been cool if they kept that going. That was a problem I had with his character in New Beginning. But now it's just like, is he anything like it? And each time with this Tommy Jarvis character, they always have to have some sort of a flashback to Corey Feldman's character. Just so if you didn't read the cast info, you're not totally lost on who this guy is. You're like, remember part 4? Remember that's that guy, the Corey Feldman guy. That's him. Because they look so much alike, and it makes so much sense that this guy's like of legal drinking age, but playing somebody who's probably 14 at the time that they shot this. This film gets away with a lot more because of its sillier tone. If it had really gotten more into the silly tone, I feel like this would be a tremendous sequel that it really, I think, kind of should have been. And it's a lot more inspired than I think a lot of horror sequels were at this time. Now, this film has no nudity in it. It's the only Friday the 13th without any nudity. I read one place that has the most kills other than Jason X. I read other places that's not true, so I don't know about that. It is fairly violent, but apparently it's one of the few Friday the 13th films where the MPAA was like, we'll probably give you an X unless you cut this down. Apparently they didn't do that, and they actually had them go back and reshoot and put more deaths in there to satisfy the fans. Now, this film didn't particularly do well because Friday the 13th, A New Beginning kind of pissed everybody off, and usually the logic goes is whichever the last film in your franchise was, if it did well, the next film will do even better because people are like, oh, that last one was really good, I have to see the next one. But since everybody hated the last one, it didn't do as well. This is actually the first Friday the 13th film not to open at #1 in the box office. It does actually take place on a Friday the 13th. The film does. It was released on August 1st, 1986, 18 months after the last film. As a Friday the 13th sequel, it definitely makes itself special, it makes itself different, and makes itself interesting because it's a different attempt at a Friday the 13th sequel, and that's what makes it special. But that doesn't necessarily make it that much better because it doesn't stick to it. Had it stick to it through the whole film, this would be a really cool movie, but it doesn't do that. It starts off really inspired and really interesting, but then ends up uninspired and like every other Friday the 13th sequel. So if you have seen Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. And the next video in my Friday the 13th review series will come out on Friday, December 13th, 2013. So you don't have to wait as long for this one. And the next film will be Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. And I hope to see you then. And thanks for watching as usual.